all you want to do is pray, 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 seek God and pray. Now, you may be thinking, what's wrong with that? Well, there's a lot of people that don't feel like that's enough. You need to be doing something. And I get that. I mean, we need to be about doing the Father's business. But I had a friend of mine. He was a pastor of a church, and his wife was so mad at him. She was running the different business aspects of the church, and he spent hours in prayer. He would just lock himself up in his room and just seek God and pray. And God used him powerfully in the Spirit. And yet she criticized him horribly because all he wanted to do is pray. And there she was doing all this work for the ministry. And, you know, sometimes people do want to criticize someone who maybe spends what they would consider to be an inordinate amount of time praying. But before we get too critical about this, I want to direct your attention to a little lady in the Bible. Her name was Anna. And the Bible says that she was married for 7 years, and then she became a widow, and she was 84 years old. So you can imagine she's probably been a widow for well over 60 years of her life, and she has spent her time in the temple. And what does she do? She fasts and she prays. She never leaves the temple. She stays there all the time, fasting and praying. And someone might say, well, what a stupid job is that? She ought to be doing something for the poor, going out and doing something, cleaning houses or something. And all she's doing is praying and fasting. But you know what happens to this lady? She is in there fasting and praying, and in walks Mary and Joseph with the baby Jesus. And as soon as she lays her eyes on him, she knew that's the Messiah. That's the one that we've been waiting for. And she knows it. And you know what she becomes? A preacher. She immediately begins to tell people, he's here. He's here. He's here. I want you to know, I think that praying and fasting was pretty worthwhile, don't you think? She became the first preacher, and guess what? She was a woman. The first preacher was a woman. She's telling people about the Messiah. Jesus has come. Where did that come from? It came from fasting and praying. You know, if we fast and pray and seek God, we know things. God reveals things to us. And it may look like it doesn't matter, but there's a day coming when you're going to be needed. God's going to show up, and you are going to be used by God in a way perhaps you never perceived you could, because you sought Him, you fasted, and you prayed. See you tomorrow.